So hopefully you can see here, there's about 500 grams of clay. And first of all, I'll explain in another video about wedging and how I prepare the clay, because for me that's very, very essential part of the process. But once your clay is prepared and it's down in the middle of the wheel, the first stage, number 1, is centering. So you want to have plenty of water. And the way that I center is make sure that my arms are really well attached onto my knees and pushing down, and I've got a really strong base. And then using this part of my left hand and just here on my right hand, push the two together and just squeeze. And because I do a lot of clay preparation beforehand, I don't move the clay around that much. I just use a lot of my upper body strength to compress the clay. I'm going to break down the 6 stages, and I'll do one video on each stage or thereabouts. So stage 1 is centering. So I'm just putting pressure on right from the bottom of my fingers, my little finger there, up to the top. So you can tell as well, another little tip, see how if your clay is centered, is by just holding your finger and just seeing if it's bumping against your finger. And so I'm going to give this one last, maybe you can see there's a little tiny wobble in it. So I'm just going to squeeze again and compress it down. And then take a breath. Really relax your hands before you bring them off the wheel, is also a good tip. Okay, so there's centering. So next, number 2 is the base. So I'm just going to make a cylinder. I'm going to make a simple cylinder. Oh no, actually maybe I'll make a bowl, but everything really comes from the cylinder. So I'm just going to push my thumb down into the middle and across. And then using a little more water, making sure plenty of water, and once again just moving it across. And then very importantly, to compress the base so you don't get any cracks in the bottom, so all the clay particles are really compressed down together. And then depending on the shape you want to make, in here it either wants to be curved for a bowl or like a right angle for a cylinder. So yeah, I'll just make a cylinder. So I've got kind of right angle there, compressing the base. And that's stage 2. Stage 3 is to even the walls. So I've got quite a thick bit of clay at the bottom here, and then going up here it's a bit thinner. So I want that to be really even. So I'm going to just, right from the bottom, I'm not thinking about this as a pull-up. I'm just thinking about squeezing some of the clay from the bottom up to the top. So I've got a better, more even wall to do my pull-up from. Because as you probably realise, if you've been throwing, for a while, then and the clay likes to sit down at the bottom here, and that's where you really need to get it up from. So once the wall is even and we're keeping a nice cone shape here, we'll start the pull-ups, which is stage 4. So right from the base, I make a little mark there with my finger, so I've got somewhere to pull up from, and then squeeze and just gently come up. Keeping the rim in and compressing the rim. So that was one. I think I'll do another pull up. So I want plenty of water. Make sure that the clay isn't catching on your hands. I'm just going to bring that in a bit more. So obviously the clay wants to go out, but we don't want it to go out. So another one. I'll just even that shape up. I think I could probably go up once more. Do a little bit of cutting in here to just take away a little bit of that clay that's sitting there. And I want to try and make this a better cylinder shape, so I'm going to just put my hand inside. And just bring this up. I'm not the best at straight lines, to be honest. I make everything curvy, but I'll do my best for demonstration. I'm just using a credit card here, an old student card I've cut up. So there we have more or less a cylinder. So that would be the shaping. So that could have been, I could have been making it into a bowl or into anything, but just for the purposes of this, just make a simple cylinder, and then we just need to tidy up the base, ready to cut it off. And I go through the same process, whatever I'm making. And I just cut this. Have a look how it is in the middle. So you can see there, a little bit thick at the base, at the bottom of the cylinder. And so I could have pulled up maybe a little bit more, but not too bad. And so it's really helpful. You can see I sort of did a curve there, because usually I end up making bowls and sort of curvier. A good idea is to weigh out, say, 5 pieces of clay all at the same weight, and then throw them and cut them and have a look. And that's how you can really, you know, see your improvement. Well, let's see if I can move this back. I hope you enjoyed that, and you know, it might be useful. And next time I'll break down the processes in a bit more detail. Okay, take care. Bye.